How you doing?
Good, how are you?
I am good.
We're here.
We're here.
Velocity.
A
Backstage.
Backstage pass.
Yeah.
Exciting.
It is super exciting.
I haven't seen you in so long.
I know. It's been, has it been years?
It must be.
No, I'm a liar. It was nationals.
No, I wasn't at Nationals before that.
Okay.
It'll be at least a year, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy.
We were saying we met 6 years ago
Yep.
now
Yep.
on a job.
Yes.
And now we're at Velocity. Like, we should chat about like, well, the time in between them, but also like the time before then. We've never really dove into like our backgrounds before. We see each other, you know, in dance, and we talk about dance and its current, but we have a whole story and a whole journey
Yeah.
to chat about.
Yeah. I want to know when you started dancing. I want to know when you fell in love with dancing, like if it was immediate. I want to know everything. Tell me everything.
Well, I never wanted or never knew that I was going to be a dancer.
Oh.
I was always like a performing kid.
Okay.
Like I love to sing, I love to act. And dancing was just there as well, but it was always, I wanted to be a singer or an actor. I was in like drama clubs and choirs at school and stuff.
At how old? Like, where were you?
Oh, that was from like
birth.
4.
You came
like,
out, you're like, shut
Oh, there's videos of me at like 2 years old at the Spice Girls. Like they were
love.
They were everything. And then I guess I just would make up little dance routines in my bedroom, like 8 years old, 9 years old. And then I started teaching my older sister and a group of her friends that were like 18 when I was like 10. We used to hire out a dance studio.
That's amazing.
And I used to just teach them these routines, and like I'd mix music on Audacity. And I guess it kind of just started happening. I joined like a dance club at school, and we did a bit of street dance. I did ballroom for a year with a partner like from school. And then my life kind of flipped, and we moved from the UK to New Zealand.
Okay.
And then I started, I think, really dancing. I was doing dance as a subject at school, and my teacher was like, you should join a local studio. And I'd never heard of anything like that, and it was like a local jazz studio that also did all the styles, but they were known for jazz. I did a year there and started doing like local competitions and troops and like a crew for a year, and that's when I was kind of like, oh, I love this. I'm a performer. Yeah. And I was like, you know, the only guy in the group of like 14. So it was exciting because you always get to go center if you're the boy in the group.
Oh,
you know?
yeah. Oh yeah, always. What did your parents think? Were they supportive? Were they like encouraging? Were they questioning? Like what was that dynamic? If it's not too much.
No, yeah, I honestly had it really easy. I'm the baby, so I think I could have done anything, and my parents would have been really happy with it.
That's usually how it goes.
Yeah.
For the baby.
But like, as soon as I was like, I'm committing to dance, my dad like built a studio in my room and like
That's
made these
incredible.
mirrors and like invested in like a cool sound system, and they're really, really supportive, and I think they instilled like a really hard work ethic that whatever I wanted to do, they would have been supportive of because I would put a lot into it.
Yeah.
And I did, and that's kind of like, that takes me to like the serious stuff when I joined the Palace Dance Studio in New Zealand and started working with Paris Goebel and started competing at World Champs and all of that till I started going solo. And I'll pause there so we can get into you, because that's kind of like the checkpoint of the professional career.
Okay. How old were you at that point? Like
that
at
was
that checkpoint,
like
so we can pick back up.
15 to 19. So I did like 5 years of like really intensive training and travel and competitions, and based in that kind of crew dynamic. So hip hop, street dance, that kind of a base.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
It's in a nutshell, but
yeah.
I mean, yours will be completely different. So
Kind of, yeah, kind of. I mean, I came out the womb and was like, I'm performing.
Yes.
Like immediately.
Boom.
Like literally came out in a center split.
Yes.
No, but I was a super performer. I wanted to like act and put on shows, and my poor siblings, I would like tell them, this is your lines and you're saying
These
this.
are your roles.
And yeah, exactly. Before even dancing, just like storytelling and acting. I just wanted to like, I don't know, just do it all.
Yeah.
And then my older sister danced. She was so good. And I was like, I want to just do that. I want to be just like her. And I admired her so much. And so then my parents were like, okay, we'll start you. I was 2. And that was my first class. But at that age, like I wanted to do it. It was so like weird. And so yeah, I was in there and I did that. And then I got older. I like did the whole dance studio thing, just like taking classes, whatever. And then I got super into karate as well. So that also like shaped my movement, I feel, because you learn so much about control and patience and observing and all of these things. It helped so much with my dancing. But it kind of got to a point, like I did karate and did sparring, all of it. It kind of got to a point where like I had to choose, like, what am I gonna do? And so I chose dancing. And I was like, yeah, I don't think I wanna damage everything. I'll damage it a different way, doing all these crazy tricks. But yeah, so I ended up choosing dancing, and then I just continued, and I fell more and more in love with it. And I wanted to learn more and more styles, and I like really started gravitating towards hip hop actually, like a lot. And I was like, I just love this. And I competed, and I did what we do here at Velocity. Like I did competitions, I did classes, and that was like my favorite thing ever. And learning from people like us was my favorite thing. Like I wanted to just get to know them. I wanted to be just like them. Like all of that molded my career, because I just looked up to these choreographers like Lorianne and Brian Friedman and all these, and Christian Vincent. Like I looked up to them so much. So I just wanted to follow in their footsteps. And so then I just did that and continued on. And then I went to Monsters. And I met Jillian Myers, who's incredible. She's had an incredible career. And I didn't really know what Monsters was fully. It was just like my first time going. And at the end, they're like, you got an invite for the show. And I didn't know what it was. So I was like, I just went independently. I wasn't with the studio at the time. And I was like, oh, okay. Totally didn't like realize how big of a deal it was. And I took it, and they're like, you have to submit a couple things, and you find out if you made the show later on. So I'm like, okay, I'll do it. I submitted a couple of things, and then in the summer, they called me. They're like, congratulations, like you made the show. And I was like, what? Like, and they were doing Monsters of Contemporary at the time. And Jillian Myers was like a huge part of that. And I just really connected with her when I went like I don't know if she connected with me, but I really like connected a lot with her. So yeah, I made the show, and I was like, I had no idea what I was in for at all. I just told my mom, like, I made the show, I'm 15 years old. And she's like, okay, we're gonna figure it out. Like, we're gonna figure out how to make it work. So yeah, we went to LA, and Nappy Tabs, they were directing the show at the time. And I worked with Peter Chu and Matt Cady and Kevin Maher and all the incredible faculty that works with Monsters. But that's kind of my checkpoint where, in a very condensed nutshell, where like everything changed because I was like, whoa, this is on another level. Like this is, you know, the people in my cast, Brian Nicholson was in my cast, who teaches here for Velocity, which is crazy now that full circle and we're back here. Alex Fetbroth was in my cast, Taja Riley was in my cast, Kylie Bright was in my cast. Like there was so many incredible.
This is 2011.
Yeah.
I saw that show.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Saw that show.
Did you?
Yeah.
So I was like, I don't know if you remember it, but I was like in the lab coat. I was one of those like lab people. But yeah, so.
Crazy.
And that was my like total change in checkpoint. And what's funny is Nappy Tabs was actually teaching on a convention, which they used to teach for Velocity when it first started. But they were teaching on a convention. This is before Velocity exists. And they saw me, they knew that I was like a convention kid, and I was going to that same convention. So they were like, if you need a ride, they saw my mom driving me back and forth. They're like, if you need a ride, we'll just take you.
Yeah.
And so the Nappy Tabs would take me to Monsters rehearsal, to the convention,
Wow.
to Monster. Yeah, so I built that relationship with them.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so that's my kind of my checkpoint and stamp where, like, for me at that 15 age, everything changed.
That's crazy because our points meet.
Yeah.
Then at that show, 2011 was like the first year that I was really doing it seriously. And on that trip, we'd gone to HHI, the World Hip Hop Champs, in I think Vegas at the time. Competed. That was the year that we like took out nearly every division with the royal family, and that was my first year with them.
Epic, no big deal.
And then we came back to LA, and yeah, I think Request dance crew, they were guests for the Monsters show,
Oh
so
my
we
gosh,
came to see the show.
yes, I forgot about that. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, yeah.
That's
Wow.
crazy.
So then what did you think when you saw that? Do you remember?
I just remember, because I'd been so, not closed off, but sheltered almost from global dance. New Zealand is so isolated.
Yeah.
And back in 2011 still, like YouTube was like there, but it wasn't huge. There wasn't like a lot of stuff.
Yeah, we're kind of aging ourselves, but
Yeah, like nowhere near the
The kids
amount
are
of
like, "What?"
resources that we have now.
yeah,
And no access to teachers. New Zealand's like super small and a super small population. We don't get many like international teachers, and you have to go and be a part of it. And even then, like Instagram wasn't there yet, so we used to learn like styles that we could off of YouTube, off of like grainy footage of battles.
Oh yeah.
And all of like that's how we learned our styles basically until we were able to come to the US and take Monsters. Actually, I remember learning from Candace Brown.
Oh yeah, epic.
Like yeah, my first Monsters, first convention, because pretty much all of my training was with Paris, which is crazy to think of now because she's choreographer, creative director, huge. But
There's
we
nothing,
really
no words better than bop. That's it.
But we really like took that journey. So I almost had a kind of the complete opposite experience to like doing something like Velocity, where you're constantly learning from so many different people. I had one teacher, and she happened to be the best in the Southern Hemisphere.
Yeah.
You know, and so like that really skewed my perspective for a long time of what I could learn from other people, and I had to really, when I came out of it, because I'd been blessed and spoiled for so long, to really find the love of learning again and finding the different perspectives and how what I could gain from it.
Yeah.
But
wow, that's an incredible perspective. Because that's true. Like our paths were so different, but somehow we ended up here.
Here we are.
Somehow we ended up here. Yeah.
So what in the, I guess in those next few formative years of you like going to LA, what's the sentence I'm trying to say?
Like, how do we connect to the next chapter?
Yeah, but I guess in a way to this one as well, with like such an emphasis in teaching and training and educating. Like, was that something that was always there, or was there a switch, or did it kind of grow alongside, like the dance career?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I always loved teaching. I'm bossy. I've always been a little bit of a boss with my siblings, so I always loved directing, I should say, and helping others and observing. That's something that I like, even still to this day, I love observing. I love just watching people and learning from people. I think that all those qualities like a teacher kind of needs. And so, after that point with Monsters, then my career started really at 17. I was still in high school, and it started with Beyonce. That was my first job. Crazy.
Just casually.
Crazy. I walked in the room and I was like, let me find, I don't know, I was fearless, but I was like, let me look for the most beautiful, talented, admirable woman in this room, and let me go right next to her and let me pretend I'm her. So that's what I did, and it worked, and I booked the job. And I kind of had that mindset my whole career, like, let me find successful people and just be right next to them and just catch anything I can. So I started with that with dancers, and then I started it with artists, and then I started it with choreographer, and I feel like that kind of shaped my career and like the path that I went to. And so yeah, so I did that with Beyonce. Then shortly after that, I toured with Kanye for 2 years, and then after that, I ended up working for Britney Spears.
Yes.
And in that time, I somehow got casted to be her stand-in and movement coach.
Amazing.
So that really like changed everything for me in a teaching aspect, because I also swung the show as a dancer. So I had to learn every girl track, every boy track, her track, every lyric. I had to learn so much. And I had to teach her everything. And as you know, which we definitely need to get into, working with the artists is a different beast.
Yes.
And but it made me really super fall in love with teaching and sharing and movement direction and artistry on another level.
Yeah.
And being her stand-in, I got to experience those meetings and everything. So yeah, that really like kind of lit something in me where I was like, I want to teach, I want to choreograph. And that's where it like kind of that really started for me. And I worked with her for 5 years, and then Demi Lovato after that, and Ava Max, and Paul Abdul, and Miguel, and a bunch of different tours after that. And after I did it all, I was like, okay, I'm ready to take everything I did and give it to somebody else and help them do everything I did and way, way more. And I found myself here at Velocity, and they cultivate that, which is they bring in such an incredible faculty, not only in like achievements and resume, and that's one thing, but I feel like incredible people who want to help these kids get to their goal and can be that bridge for them. So that's how I ended up here. And I want to hear how you got here and your story. I mean, you'd have to really put that in a nutshell. I know it's huge, but yeah.
I mean, I think the main through links of it, I guess, are with Whitney. And I started working also with Nappy Tabs. In 2018, I was, I guess, scouted, but it wasn't scouted because everything I feel in my career has been like a series of like pinballs. Everything's connected. You never know who's going to speak well of you.
Totally.
If you've done a good job. So a dancer that I used to dance with back in New Zealand for all those years in a crew, and who were like family, were like brothers, Michael Metuakore. I had started working with a Taiwanese artist that I still work with now. I've worked with her for 10 years now.
Wow.
Jolin Tsai. We were doing these gigs in China, kind of 2016, 17, 18. I must have been like 30 times back and forth to China doing these little spot gigs.
Yeah.
While she was kind of in between album cycles. And I was hiring New Zealand dancers for it, which was amazing because we don't get opportunities like that.
Yeah. Isn't that incredible to give? Isn't that an incredible feeling to like give opportunities? It's the best feeling, I think, right?
It's one of, I don't want to do it if I can't bring my people with me.
Totally.
So I do it half for me, but like a lot for them.
Yeah.
As well. I was doing a job hiring New Zealand dancers. I didn't have enough. Mikey at this point was dancing for Jennifer Lopez because he'd booked her Vegas residency.
Okay.
He had a break in between shows. I was like, do you want to come and do this New Year's Eve performance? And he was like, yeah, totally. Like,
He's
let's
always
do
down.
it. He's down.
Always down.
Did it. It went great. He'd posted about it on Instagram. Nappy Tabs at the time were looking for someone fresh, a new choreographer for Jen. I got a message. Can you come and submit some videos for Jen. I did, and then I was on a plane to LA. I got my visa, and then I was working with Jen for like the next 3 years, and we did, I guess, from doing not a lot and I'd never really seen LA as a goal for myself, because everyone else had seen it as a goal, and I'm stubborn and like to be like, well, I'm going to find success elsewhere, and I'm going to go everywhere else in the world and see what I can do.
I know that feeling too well.
Yeah, but it worked out, and I loved it, and I did the VMAs and the Grammys and a tour, and we met.
And we worked together.
On a music video.
For Jen,
For Jen, and that's how we met 6 years ago.
Crazy.
And I'm glad that there was what, I think like 24 girls total in the music video, but you were in the core, in the core 6 of them. So we actually got to like connect, and those were some of my first experiences working with American dancers.
That's incredible, because not to cut off your story,
No,
but
no.
my perspective of the situation is like you seemed so in. You know what I mean? Like you seemed in it. Like it didn't feel like it's my first time. It's just like you were so kind and sweet and lovable, but you were also in, very focused, and you're like, this is what we're doing, and we're making changes. I observed, and I learned so much from you in that moment, like more than you even know.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Sorry to cut you off.
No, you're good. I'm all bashful. But yeah, so like that was from then, and then through working with Jennifer, I got some other artists, and then the exposure and the grandiose of doing that allowed me to work with who I wanted to work, like an artist that I really wanted to work with, that I'd connected with before, and then I got Blackpink, and then K-pop just kind of exploded from there.
So when we met, you hadn't started working with Blackpink yet?
No, so I'd met them
Wow.
like 4 years prior. We'd been to Korea separately with Paris, who was working with some Korean artists at the time, and kind of met them as they were trainees. So they were training to be superstars, if you will, in their like companies.
Yeah.
And we'd made that connection. We'd gone back. I had separately gone on my own journey, like not cut all ties, but when you leave a company, it's, you know, you don't have access to the same things that you did before.
Totally.
So then, yeah, years later, I'd done some of my own things, and then I'd got the attention from it, and then I really wanted to work with them. I did, and then that was, yeah, that's that same year. So shortly after Jennifer, that's when I just started doing more, and then it's kind of just been a blip of bouncy things from there.
Doesn't it feel like that? It feels like there's so much that happened, but it feels like it's just like you said, ping pong.
Yeah.
Like we both have been so lucky to have that.
Absolutely.
Or fortunate, I should say, to have that type of career. But I think kind of what you said earlier about Whitney, which I didn't even mention Whitney, but she was definitely the plug. That guy.
For Velocity.
Like she is the plug.
Yes.
She is the plug.
Yeah.
She also is why I'm here today too.
Yes.
And made that connection. But like you were saying earlier, I think that with our careers, it's that mindset that you said, you never know who's going to recommend you or, you know, what someone's going to say or whatever. So it goes beyond dance. It's about being a good human too. Is a huge part of it.
Because people remember, there's that quote, I can't remember what it is, but people won't remember like what you did, but they'll remember like how you were.
Totally.
And I think as well that can be a lot more inspiring than just someone's incredible skill set.
Right.
But like how they approach that with you, and their character. And I think that was a big part of, again, Whitney introducing me to Velocity, because I'd done, we have a great convention back in New Zealand that my friends Ash and Ali have like cultivated to be as amazing as like these American conventions.
Yeah.
But it was the pitch almost from Whitney was, I know these great people, and to them it was, I know this great guy. That sounds weird. But wanting to, make the connection, not just for a job, but for the experience of what I guess I could offer the students, and what the enigma of velocity can do, how it can feel, because it's special.
It's so special,
Yeah.
and it's special in what Corey and Eve have like created and brought here. It's also special in the clientele that comes here, like the kids that come here. It's truly really special. Like it's a something to be super proud of.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, I have a question for you.
Yes.
Just a off-topic kind of question. Have you ever been super nervous for a performance, or can you think of a performance maybe, or maybe it wasn't necessarily you performing, maybe it's something you choreographed for, and you were really nervous for it, like up to the moment, or something that you kind of struggled with a little bit with like nerves or anxiety?
I'm a bit weird. I'm a bit weird in that I almost don't, for as long as I can remember, I don't really get nervous, which is a blessing.
Yeah.
But I think the way that I learned to choreograph with, I trained under Paris, and that's how I kind of developed my choreography process as well. And I had to learn to be very, not emotionally disconnected, but I had to have a very, very tough skin with choreography, which I think is almost a bit unique, because normally as dancers we have to have thick skin and take the critique and take it with grace. But when I was choreographing as well, it wasn't, I was being, critiqued, and we were getting this, and it was very quick to change, and no, we don't like that, try again, So I just had to learn to be like, okay, whatever, which I think is what a lot of people have said to me, that I have like a calmness when I'm in like a rehearsal setting or creating, because I just have to shed all ego.
Yeah.
And just be like, well, whatever is for the job. If they don't like it, like, let's try again. Let's do it again. So I think that's kind of, that runs through into the pieces that I create, and how satisfied I have to be with them kind of instantly. And I'm like, if it's good, it's good. If not, like, let's try again.
Yeah.
So I think the nerves, I like to be like solid in what I've created, in the people that are executing it. I don't like to leave things like, oh, will it work, will it not? I'm like, if it doesn't, we're not doing it. I want to, I'm less risky in that, but I like to be like solid and confident in what we've created.
Yeah.
If that
makes sense. That's good advice too. It's like, just go, just trust yourself and just do it. And,
absolutely.
Just that's great advice, because it's so much easier said than done.
Yeah, like, and it's hard to teach as well.
It is, and a lot of it's confidence. Like, a lot of it is just trusting yourself and just go. So I think that's great advice.
Yeah, and I think from a dance perspective as well, because I thrive under pressure. I always loved an audition, because I was like, well, I'm going to stand in the middle and I'm going to kill it. I know that I'm going to be great. But I think we recently did a tour last year that I choreographed on and then got to dance on. And then I took a step back and let everyone else dance. But then like 2 things happened within a week of each other. Someone got injured, and then someone had to leave, and I had to do like 2 different tracks straight away, like the night before the performance. And I was like, and it's a 2-hour show. Yeah. I was like, cool, like love the challenge, let's
love
do
the
it.
thrill.
I think learning to enjoy that and not letting, it's part of the magic of performing. As I'm sure you know, in like live shows especially, being able to do something, never knowing what's going to happen. Yeah. Always within safety and trusting the performers around you, but I think that's part of the excitement of it.
Totally. Yeah. I completely agree. That's like one of my favorite things about artist work is like, you really don't, in the live shows, you really don't know what can happen. Yeah. I've been on shows like with Miguel, who is amazing. That was, I mean, my dog's name is Miguel. So, after the artist. Yes. So that was a dream job for me, but he's wild. And him and I had a duet, and it was freestyle every night.
Wow.
Which was, like, they told me, and they're like, okay, so you're gonna start as a solo, right? There's stairs involved, there's like props. Like you're gonna start at the top, it's a solo. Aisha Francis was a choreographer, legend, queen, learned so much from her. Also observed and absorbed everything I could from that one, so talented. But she choreographed a little bit of a solo, and then she's like, yeah, from there you guys will kind of just do a duet. And then just when it's over, it's kind of over. So you just kind of go off. I'm like, okay, like what?
Yeah.
Because I feel like with an artist, it's usually much more
regimen
specific.
Yeah.
Like this is when it will stop. This is the cue. This is this. This is that. But with Miguel, it's not like that. It is rock and roll, just
vibes.
Go.
Yeah.
So they told me that, and after, it was like one of the tours that I did towards the end of my career, so I didn't really believe it. I was like, sure, sure. No, it's gonna be cued in my mind.
Yeah.
And we have in-ears, so I'm like, they're gonna tell me.
Yeah.
No one told me. No one, not a soul. So the first, they're like, yeah, you'll just go. So the first rehearsal, he just goes for it. Twirling me around, throwing me around. I'm like, oh, we're just living, but still singing live the whole time. So there was shows where he would like throw me around so much the mic would like fly out, and then I would have to like roll over and grab it and bring it back to him. And we had such an amazing, amazing dynamic, and that was so fun because every night I really didn't know what was going to happen, and neither did he. And we also didn't know when it was going to end. So sometimes the duet would be 30 seconds, sometimes it would be 2 minutes.
Wow.
That was really fun. Then another moment too that I had exactly like that was actually with Kanye West. When I worked for him, I had a solo at the end of Love Lockdown, and I had a mic in my head like placed into my braids, and I had to scream during the solo because it like matched the music. And so they're like, yeah, you're just Yemi Ad was a choreographer, incredible genius, another brilliant. Every choreographer I've worked with, like, I feel like I've been really blessed. Almost every single one has been so just like next level artistry. It's crazy. But anyways, I had a solo at the end of that too, and same thing with Kanye. It's like it's art at that point. So the solo is gonna last as long as it does. But that was always so thrilling to me. Like I loved like not knowing. I loved just being up there and being like, what's gonna happen? How long is it gonna be tonight? And just living. And I've been so lucky to have those moments on stage with artists because they're pretty rare. Like usually it's really timed out. So, but those types of things excite me so much. What's been crazy? Like we've known each other, but now we like know even more.
And
there's
so
much more to learn.
So much,
it's
yeah.
crazy.
But I think it's great, and thank you, Velocity, for cultivating this chat, and hopefully everyone else enjoyed it too.
I know. I think we have faculty rehearsal now, so I think we need to go actually.
Let's do that. I need to learn some stuff.
Oh yeah, the little step. Yeah,
Yes.
we need to hit those steps.
Easy. All right.
Okay.
Let's go.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah. Good to be with you.